Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another day, another episode of 30NSG. On today's show, we're going to be talking about Apple kills Epic's iOS game store plans over the Apple Store criticism. We're going to talk about, or watch, Force Gaming talking about Dune Awakening. He goes more into detail and gets more of the bits and pieces that we kind of missed or didn't talk about the other day. And we're going to talk about Helldivers. March 14th, they're doing an update. The next Warbond's Battle Pass, whatever you want to call it, and update of different weapons and different things coming into the game. So we'll talk about that. And we also have For Honor. Those of you that haven't heard that name in a while, we're going to be talking about For Honor. It's a milestone for them, and it's been out for 8 years. So that's what's on the show today. If you like what we do here, we talk and have a conversation about gaming news and just conversations in general. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, you can become a member as little as $5. We're here Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. We do live streams, podcasts, gameplay, uploads, lots of different stuff on this channel. So I appreciate all the support. Just being here, hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button. It all helps out. What's going on, Stealth? What's going on, Paul? What's going on, Eclipse? Eric, Rose, Water, Dark Taco, Argus, what's going on? Good morning, everybody. Paul says, happy Thursday. He says, my partner just passed her PhD and has become a doctor. Never going to hear the end of this. Yeah, but the real question is she giving liberty? What's her rank in Helldivers? No, that's awesome. Congratulations to your partner for becoming a doctor. She'll be like, I'm tired. I just saved someone's life. Can you make me dinner? That's what it's going to be. I thought this was funny. I don't have to say anything. I'm just going to show this. Right? I'm just going to show this. Right? Now, if you guys don't know, Opera GX is a web browser. Right? Opera GX is a web browser. And Electronic Arts blocked them. The world is upside down when one entity blocks another entity. These are not people. These are businesses. Right? It's so strange. So strange. It's like being in high school again. So strange. What's going on? Good morning, Robert Jones. Morning, Wonder Rose. What's going on, Eclipse? Like, what? It's so ridiculous. What's going on? I'll turn. Kylo, what's going on? Right? Like, again, let me put that back up just so you guys missed it. Right? Electronic Arts blocked Opera GX. What was this? What happened there? What happened there? I'm not even going to go look into this. I just thought this was strange. I was like, okay. And that's not an advertisement for Opera GX, right? Even though I use their browser. But if you want to give me an advertisement, Opera GX, we'll be here waiting. I won't hold my breath, though. I won't hold my breath. What's going on, Travis? Meaning the world was ever right side up? Come on now. Doctor of Science. So it's a lot to do with child development and brain stuff. Oh, well. Still impressive. I mean, you got doctor. I mean, she actually can put doctor in front of her name. Unlike Dr. Disrespect and Dr. Lupo. No shade towards them. But I don't think they're actual doctors. All right, so let's start off with Helldivers. Let's start off with Helldivers this morning. Travis says, I'm a doctor. I studied a degree of bullshit. Okay. What's going on, Mash? Can I put doctor? I'm a physician, but not a PhD. I mean, you can do whatever you want. In the world that we live in today, you can do whatever you want. You don't need put doctor in front of your name. Yeah, well, whatever. You do whatever you want. It is what it is. All right, so Helldivers 2 has new Warbond launches on March 14th. First look at new weapons, armor, and more. I'm kind of upset. I'm upset about this March 14th date, okay? Like, when it rains, it pours. I was supposed to be playing the new Star Wars, well, the old/new Star Wars collection on March 14th, but Helldivers said, hoorah, and they came in and they said, we're stealing that thunder, and they came in with the new Warbond launches. Okay, it says, greetings, fearless heroes, galactic democracy, steel yourself for the next big push against the disgraceful enemies of the freedom of within the Warbond cutting edge. Okay, we'll look at the trailer in a second. Packed with high voltage vibes, cutting edge gives a chance to enhance the loadout liberty of ultra futuristic armor guns and spit lightning, super stylish capes, and epic emotes. Super Earth R&D experiments. Helldivers, we need your help. Okay, it says the Super Earth Research Development have been in cool experimental armor ready for the field test, and we're ready to come in, and you're just the right person for the job. I love how they always keep in character as they do these posts and whatnot. It says the EX series prototypes. Okay, the XE03 prototype 3 includes a rubber underlayer insulation, handy really, as a prototype wires operate the shocking 400,000 volts. Okay, you got the EX16 prototype 16. Warning, electric arc generates a strong magnetic field. Avoid use while near stapled paperwork. EG00 prototype X. The end result, several billion super credits and 12 years of research into creating a soldier of tomorrow. Show us what it was worth. Okay, expand arsenal. Research and development didn't stop the armor, though. It also is rolling out some new series, alien-spitting weapons, electrifying perks. Okay. We got the LAS-16 sickle. It's a sweet laser rifle that fires a short burst and also doesn't need to be reloading. Just watching overheating and shove new heat sink in there. Okay, it says Punisher Plasma. It's the CG-8P exploding plasma rounds. Sounds deadly because they are. To aliens and allies. To modify the Punisher shotgun, it's fun as it is fearsome. We got the Arc 12 Blitzer, Project Arc Close Range Lightning, or change it up with fire off the powerful bolts. Good for taking multiple targets and giving you more time to pick up the celebration emote. You can also unlock a new stun grenade, the G23 stun, and the LAS-7 dagger pistol. Okay. It says, equipping the LAS dagger and the LAS-16 sickle at the same time, turning the Helldiver into a real live wire, melting the foes, manage democracy on sight. What we also got to do with the touch style right, and we creatively accessorized the armor sets with 3 new capes and featuring match coloring and designs. And it says, my favorite is the Bot Slayer, is a light tan cape that is also, no doubt, it'll be great. So they're just showing you. All right, so let's look at these. Let's look at this stuff right here. Let's make sure we got everything okay. All right, here we go. That looked good. We'll lower the music there. There's the sickle. There's the Punisher Plasma. There's those 3 capes. There's the stun grenade. Yeah, they have a couple of other things. Let me rewind a little bit here. I don't know if it's the 3 thing, right? The 3 perspective thing, but I get like a Destiny vibe when I see something like this. But they look good. They look good. Now this is part of the new premium pass, right? Is what they're talking about here. Right, new primary weapons. You got the 3 weapons there. There's the Blitzer. That's the electric arc gun, which seems pretty cool. There's the sickle. And there's the plasma. And there's the 3 capes, right? Now, it'll be interesting to see what happens once the new pass comes in on the 14th. You'll see if the prices get raised and how many people... You see what I'm saying? Like a little creep. I'm not saying they're doing this. I'm saying that most people, like Call of Duty, keeps raising the prices a little bit on their microtransactions. We'll see if they stay the same or if they get a little bit more based on, if more people bought them, they might raise the price a little bit. If less people bought them, they'll keep it the same. I think they'll stay the same. But I really like how it's you can get plenty of stuff inside the game by just playing the game. So that's a good factor. Krebsy says, full democracy and give us dual space with the gold, of course. I blame Joel. Man, this music in the 80s, I love it. The first armor helmet was full Star Wars inspired. Rose says, new weapons coming for them to nerf. I hope they bring the AR to the game that's actually good. The ones that are kind of meh. I actually like the AR that I'm using right now. I'm using the, what is it, the Piercer? I like it. So, Helldivers, and this is not all, right? Let me go to their Twitter account real fast. They've also announced that, again, I like the way they're doing stuff, right? So, the other day, they posted this, right? Helldivers, the XO45 Patriot XO suits are in full production in the factories, okay, and ready for deployment on the battlefield soon, right? Then, all of a sudden, they have this, and they say it's not a drill. Our factories are under attack, halting the outpost. Helldivers have been deployed, okay? So production's been halted. And I love this, right? I was talking to Lono, I think it was like 2 weeks ago now, right? And he was asking me about like roadmaps and what they should do for Helldivers. And I said, I hope they just don't drop the mechs in. Now, we saw some leaks of stuff of people playing in the mechs and whatnot. But I love that they can do this, right? Where all of a sudden the factory's under attack. And we gotta liberate it to unlock basically the mechs, right? I don't think they should just drop it in and go, here's the new update we have. I think we should earn, all right? And if we don't liberate it or save the factories, well then, it gets postponed where we don't. So we have to come together as a community to unlock the next cool thing. And I think that's cool. So I love how they're doing all of this stuff. I think it's a nice breath of fresh air, even though it's the same shit that, it's just a video game, right? But I love the way they're doing the video game. They're embracing what they've implemented from the start. They've been very communicative, right? Like upfront about stuff, very open about what's going on behind the scenes. They're communicating very well, and then they also keep it within character, right? Like the whole company is in character, and I think that's pretty cool. With the game being such a huge hit, I have a feeling they'll raise the prices. Yeah, they could, right? And we'll see. If they raise the prices, that's when they want all the money. I don't think they will. At least not now. They never said anything about about potential of an Xbox port, right? No, nothing official. There's been petitions and stuff out there, but the company has never said anything about the Xbox port. Did the game just launch? And these Warbonds are pretty much the battle pass, right? And they're very quick with the battle pass to be gone. So the game just launched, and they have a battle pass, which is the Warbonds. And there's a free track, and there's a paid track. Okay, and you can earn the currency within the game to unlock the premium track. I've already made enough to buy the premium pass, and then on top of that, I've made so much more money that I've bought the cosmetics that they come into the store every couple days or so. And then I have more that I've made that I could depend if I want to use or save for the next season or whatnot. We'll see how they balance that, right? They'll see how much money they're making right now. They'll see how many people are buying the War Pass Premium or whatnot. And then if not a lot of people are buying it, what they'll do is they'll lower the amount of stuff that you can find out in the world. And believe me, the internet will find out if they're nerfing that or not real fast. I guess Fortnite should have raised prices years ago. They did. They did raise prices, Krebsy, over the years. What are we talking about? Not only did they raise the prices of individual skins, okay, but they've also added more things into the battle pass to make more money off people. Of course they did. What are we talking about? More of the real-time engagement way of doing it, far better than super long roadmaps. Yes. And I don't think they should do roadmaps. They said that ahead of time, Jones. There's no FOMO in this game. So, like, if you're working on the war bonds now, you'll have these war bonds. So, like, right now, I'm working on the free track and the paid track. And then if they bring in more war bonds, you'll get to pick and choose. So, you're earning the war bonds no matter what. And then you could pick and choose which one you want to do. I don't think they will at the moment because the game is bigger than they anticipated. It's called Riding the Wave. Sure. Go on, Matasbo. Oh, I didn't say they raised the game price. I didn't say anything about raising the game price, Jones. I'm talking about the microtransaction in the store. So, like, for instance, if it's like a $200, supercharge or super currency, okay, it'll go to like 250 or it'll go to like 300. And if the 400 one might go to like 425. I'm not saying they're doing that. I'm just saying you keep an eye on it or whatever. Yeah, give me 1 second. There's someone at my door. All right, sorry about that. Let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, the price of V-Bucks also went up. Yeah. I don't know what we're talking about that they will. I guess Fortnite should have raised prices long ago. They did. They've done it. No, but listen, Krebsy, the price is still $9.50, but when you buy things, there's less to get your money, and then also they've added more stuff to spend your money on. You understand that's trying to get more money, and they've actually raised the prices of skins over the years, where they introduced like a $10 skin, and then all of a sudden they introduced like a $15 skin, and then they introduced a $20 skin. You understand that's still raising the price, right? They're still raising to see what people would spend. Ultron says this game is just looking better and better by the passing time. Yeah, it's cool the way they're doing it. Adding things to buy isn't increasing the price. Oh, for Lord. Okay, you're correct, Krebsy. I'm completely wrong. You're right. Trying to get more money out of people is not raising the price. And then also raising the price of actual things by putting a $10 thing, then a $15 thing, then a $20 thing. You're right. That's not raising the price. You're absolutely correct. Right. Call of Duty's not doing that. Fortnite's not doing that. None of them are doing that. You're absolutely correct. We will get a report about inflation at Super Earth. That's right. That's correct, Paul. At this point, inflation will hit the Fortnite. It's been out that long. They've already done it. Every time, every year, they've added stuff or they've increased the price. This just game is good, period. I don't think they will jeopardize it. It's easy to say that they won't. It all depends on. I agree with you right now, Travis. I don't think the company would do that, but I'm just saying they could down the road. Absolutely. It all depends on the fluctuation of, how popular or not popular it is and whatnot. Altern says it's fun. It's fun how Fortnite reduced the price of V-Bucks and went to the court with Apple, and then about some year later raised it up again for the price of V-Bucks again. Salty says, I bet Krebsy will have call it having options. To be honest, a friend just bought it. Bought me Ark. And I'm like, I hope it isn't just busy work. Oh, Ark Survival? Is that what you're talking about, Travis? Dollars coming in corrupts. We'll see. That's my point, Dave. I'm not saying that they are going to do that, right? I'm just saying that we'll see. We'll see what happens, because obviously if I can get $10 for something and everyone's buying it at $10, like, oh, well, let's see if we make it to $11. We raise it to $12 and we'll see. Again, I'm not saying it's happening. Saying we'll see. Who's making the money right now? I would think both of them are making money. I think I said this in Discord because they said, oh, they might get bought out by Sony. And I said, right now, I don't think they'll sell. Right? I think they're happy because right now, Arrowhead is making more money than they've ever made before in any of their games. This is the most successful game they've ever created. Okay? This is, again, not to compare to like a Fortnite where Epic made other games. They were very successful. But Fortnite was their cash cow, and they could go do whatever they wanted to do because of the opening of what that game made for them. Okay, just that Battle Royale mode. This is their moment, right, for Arrowhead. Just like Baldur's Gate 3 for Larian Studios is that game where they're making so much money off of that game, right, and goodwill. That's their moment. Sort of like CD Projekt Red when they had Witcher 3. That was their moment where they made a shit ton of money off that, and then Cyberpunk even made more money for them, right? So Arrowhead right now with Helldivers 2 is having that moment where they're getting so much money from Helldivers 2 from people buying it, people buying microtransactions, people buying the premium pass or whatever, that they could literally make enough money where they might not need help publishing their next game down the road if they do it correctly. Thoughts on Xbox show yesterday? I thought it was pretty good. I watched it after the fact. There wasn't any kind of game that I was just like, oh my god, they all look great. I was just like, cool. I'm not excited for any of them, but I also didn't think any of them were like, man, they're all shit or something like that. I thought it was a good show. They showed, what, 15 games yesterday? And that came out of nowhere. That just came out of nowhere, right? All of a sudden, they're just like, hey, we're showing a bunch of games. I definitely think Sony acquires them at some point. I agree. But at the same time, it would look really bad if they did it right now, Rose. It would look really bad. They're like, yeah, we're we got rid of 900 people, or 900 positions, and then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we're acquiring a studio. Like, okay. And when they do acquire them, that price has gone up now, right? That price has gone up now because of a successful game. And the longer they wait, it could go up even higher. It all depends on how good and how successful the game is. We're still in that honeymoon phase right now, right? We're still in that first month, just over a month now, right? They might not need the help if they do it correctly. He's referring on not doing a Bungie with Destiny and spreading 2K in a coffee machine. That's right, Altern. That's what I'm saying. Like, if they take the money that they have, for instance, Hello Games. Hello Games needed Sony help to publish No Man's Sky. Okay? They had a contract with them for 2 years, and then once that goes, they didn't need them anymore. They made so much money, and now they have the goodwill, and they've made a lot of money off No Man's Sky. They keep updating No Man's Sky, and they can do what they want now. Right? So if a company makes a game and then sells that game, and they do well with their management and their money, then they don't actually need help to publish the game anymore. Out of the games they showed, only last two interest me. The Berserker one looked good, and there was another one, I forget what it was called. There was also that other, like, Japanese style, really neat art style. I forget what the game was called. It wasn't the last one. It was the one, like, it was like the second mid-tier area one. It looked pretty cool. Or interesting, I should say. Well, definitely the honeymoon phase, but lots of very angry with the patch yesterday. I look at the patch. Okay, here's where I come from for this, Rose. I respect the way they're running this game, right? Because I've always said in the past, right? When we played Destiny, I always complained about this. I was like, I hate that this gun is like the best gun, and everyone wants you to use this gun, and I want to be able to use any gun that I want, right? There's always going to be, if you're a number cruncher, you'll always find what weapon or what armor is the best, right? What I love about Division 2 is that everything's viable. Everything's viable, okay? You make the build that you want, and then you can make that build the best build, and you can run that, and it's viable for all the content in the game if you do it correctly. That's why I like Division, right? Division 2. With other games, okay, it's like this is the meta, and that's what it is. What I love about what Arrowhead's doing and their stance on nerfing a gun, that there has to be a pro and a con to everything. So, for instance, the railgun, it makes sense if you think about it, right? Everyone was running it on safe mode and not safe mode, right? The non-safe mode is like, if I can penetrate through the armor with safe mode, why am I using the non-safe mode, right? Now there's a give and take, right? So now I'm using it on safe mode, but I can't break through that medium or light armor. But now if I go to unsafe mode, there's a give and take of where now my skill comes in, where if I hold the trigger too long, it'll blow up myself. But if I start getting good with that weapon, there's a benefit of using it on unsafe mode where I can do the exact same thing I was doing before, okay, on safe mode. So I'm okay with it if they do it. So right now, the new meta is either the laser cannon or they're doing the flamethrower. The flamethrower itself is really powerful for the bugs, but at the same time, if 4 people are running flamethrowers and you're running around and you get into the thing, you turn around, you literally burn everybody. You burn your teammates, you burn yourself. There's a pro and a con to using the weapons, and that's what I like what they're doing. They're making sure that it doesn't matter what gun you use. There's a meta, okay, is on what you want to build, what you want to make your build, and then your skill level using that actual gun or the gear. And that's what I like. Because why make 100 guns or make 50 guns or make 20 guns if one gun is the one gun to rule them all? You can't keep buffing everything in the game. You try to match one to the other gun in the game. Simpler is just lower one. not even that though, right? They want to make sure that your playstyle is your playstyle. They don't care what gun they want you to use all the guns. They want you to use certain things for certain certain enemies and whatnot. They give you the tools and you use them. They don't want the meta. They even took the shield generator down. Dolphin says someone had a good theory with the mechs coming. They want to tune down the other stuff. Sure. Hunt Showdown has that. This is why it's unique and sets itself apart from the other extraction shooters. Everything's viable. Small ammo, medium, long, and loadout can also kill, and headshot is a headshot. That's what I'm saying. You can't just make a gun and be like, oh, look at this cool gun, right? If you do what Destiny does, right? They give you the Mytho class, okay? The Vex Mytho class, right? That's what it was called, right? They gave it to that one person that was sick and he was dying, and they put it out in the game early. And then when it went into the regular world, it was dominant over everything else. So everyone was going in it. Then they nerfed it. And then someone else got the same thing. And then someone else nerfed that. And then and it's always this thing, right? Always. With this, they're like, we don't want a meta. We want viable weapons, and you use what you want to use. And that is a really good, as a developer, I think that's great. And as a gamer, I think that's great. Because now you're not going, oh, I have to get this gun, okay, to be dominant in this thing. They're like, no. We want more things to be viable for you in the later game in 7, 8, and 9. Helldivers 1 was fairly balanced. It was more rock, paper, scissors. And I think that's a good balance. I think they're doing a better job here, right? Because it's like, it's like, just think about it. They're adding more guns now, right? They're adding more guns now. Well, if the meta is the railgun and the shield generator, and the guns that come in, you're still running the meta, then what's the point of bringing new guns in? I like the shotgun and flamethrower combo. I literally just changed, right? I tried the new sniper rifle. Didn't really like it. I don't like that when you zoom in, it's always zoomed in, right? Unless you do like a hip shot type of stuff. I didn't really like it. I'm going back to the penetrator, or I'm going to go try the shotgun, the incendiary shotgun. Okay. And now they I think if I'm not mistaken, they shortened the distance. So it's not shooting like 90 meters away. It's more prevalent now at like 45 feet or something like that. So I might start running a shotgun, and I think I'm going to get rid of the shield generator and try something else. I might try the backpack, the jetpack. And the flamethrower has always been good for the bugs. Also, it was the Fate of All Fools. Yeah, Destiny's always been about gun raised up, nerf that gun, another gun comes up, right? Like people right now are running around going, "Oh, flamethrower is the new meta." It's not. It's just as powerful as it was before. But the reason people weren't using the flamethrower is because people were using the railgun. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the new guns that come in and whatnot. And that's the 14th. There's a lot of stuff happening, right? So we have the update for Helldivers, right? Here's the problem with live service games, right? You have the games that are brand new that come out that you want to play, and then you have the games that already are out that do the updates and then just start wedging it more in, right? It's all about your time, right? You can go play this game, but we really want you to stay in this game. So are you getting on Helldivers tonight? Probably after the podcast, I'll get on L. I won't be on stream, though. It'll just be me off stream playing. So if you see me, you want to jump in, you're more than welcome to come play. Fortnite's doing an update. Prepare thyselves, mere mortals. Gods have updated the celestial load screen. So apparently, the next thing that's coming in for Fortnite is Myths and Mortals. So it's crazy what they're doing in that game. The constant updating and it's crazy. And yet Cyberpunk won best ongoing game. Amazing. Water says, at the end of the March 14th, I have Helldivers 2 Season 2, Dragon's Dogma 2, Rise of Ronin, South Park Snow Day. You got the Star Wars game coming out as well, right? Final Fantasy is coming out at the end of this month as well for Xbox users, like the official launch of Final Fantasy 14. Right? There's so much stuff. Let me see what else. What else we got? Yeah, you have. I'm looking at the stuff right here on right? You just got 2K24 WWE just came out. You got Contra coming out that people, if they're interested in that, whatever. Let's see what else we got. You got Lightyear Frontier coming out on the 19th. You got Horizon Forbidden West coming to Windows. Is that correct? Dragon's Dogma on the 22nd. Last Ronin on the 22nd. You got Snow Day on the 26th. And that's just this month, right? Then you go to April, you got a bunch of other games coming out. I don't think I'm going to grab any other game besides the Star Wars one. Everything else I already have, right? The updates and stuff that are coming in. Sea of Thieves is doing an update. They're doing a was it at the end of this month, the 20th, something like that? They're showing what they have planned for the future of this year. I'm not going to get Snow Day when it comes out. I got too much stuff I'm playing. I got too much stuff. I can't juggle all these games. It's impossible. And I'm not a content creator that has to keep up with the Joneses, right? We thought this year was going to be slow. Maybe they're all releasing it this year because Wolverine GTA 6. Well, I said the beginning of this year was going to be slammed up until like the summer. And then I think we get the slow period. But who knows? Because I think they moved a couple of games from the beginning of this year to late this year, right? Because now we have Space Marines 2 coming out. We have Outlaws sometime coming out this year. You have the first Descendant coming out later this year. Supposedly Dune Awakening is coming out later this year. Then you have Transformers Reactivate supposed to come out later. Lots of ifs and ors maybe later this year, but I'm good. I'm good with the amount of stuff. Then you got the update for Starfield that comes out later this year, right? Whatever that is. I just remembered that Fallout 76 had the Atlantic update, the Atlantic City update. I want to go check that out. I don't know when I'm going to have time for that. Then there's the other games that are just making updates as they go. You got Season 1 of Suicide Squad coming in at the end of this month as well, right? Like there's so many things that I want to play. Then there's always the Division 2 that I'm going back to play, right? There's just, it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous amount of stuff. It's impossible to cover and play everything. I need to clone myself like Michael Keaton in Multiplicity. Then, if you're on PlayStation now, right? If you're on PlayStation, now you're getting Hi-Fi Rush. Now you're getting Pentiment. Now you're getting Sea of Thieves, right? So these are 3 other games, if you're interested in those games or not, that you're going to go play, right? On top of the things you were already playing, right? What's it called? Stellar Blade coming out. That's the problem with live service games. Oh, then I got Hogwarts Legacy because they're bringing that mission that didn't get that wasn't here at the launch for PC and Xbox, right? So that's coming in. I gotta go Go back and play that. I got to start putting this in my calendar because I'm forgetting a lot of stuff, right? Then there's the new games that I'm interested in that I can't afford because I just don't have the time. I would rather not buy them up front and wait 7 months to play it than just wait 7 months and buy it later and it might be on sale. Wait, what about Starfield? I said Starfield's got the DLC that's supposed to come out. And then who knows? Maybe Diablo Season 4 will fix stuff. And maybe I'll go back and play Diablo Season 4. I doubt it. But just saying. What other games are coming out? I got to go back and play. I want to see the update when DC Universe Online comes out with the update for the new consoles, right? For the Series X and PlayStation 5. They're doing a upgrade for that. So I want to play that, right? What else is coming out? There's something else. Oh, ESO has their yearly thing coming out, right? Diablo's expansion is coming out this summer, right? There's so much freaking stuff. I want to try The Last Epoch. That's on my back burner now. I haven't bought it, but I want to try that. What other games coming out? There's a couple other games. There's too many. There's too many even to remember. And these are just games I own that update. Right? I think SnowRunners is still doing a season type of stuff. Right? Expedition's going to have a season pass as it goes on. I'm trying to think if there's another. There was like one other game I was trying to think of, but I can't remember now. Then you have 30's two favorite things releasing. That's right. COD Warzone Mobile and Final Shape. Yeah, it's insane the amount of things to play. Right? And that's on top of Helldivers is going to constantly update throughout the year. Right? Z, the show with ladies. That's right. That's one thing that's off my list. Right? That's one thing that's... So there's companies out there that are helping me take things off my list. It's always good of them. Foam Stars expansion? What happened to Foam Stars? What happened to Foam Stars? I thought Foam Stars was going to be this, like, earth-shattering, like, going to be up there. It might be popular, I'm asking because I haven't heard a fucking peep about it, right? A Kingsmaker? I totally forgot about that, right? Right? I haven't heard a goddamn thing about Foam Stars. It's free for PlayStation Plus. No, it was free for the first month, Stealth. That's how they got you in. Oh, Palworld is going to get an update for sure. You're gonna watch a video to see how Destiny ends? Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'll wait for the person that puts everything together to tell the whole story from beginning to end. Yeah, and then I'll watch it. I mean, I gave it 7 years of my life. I honestly don't know what's going on right now in Destiny. And I'm not talking about game-wise. I'm talking about story-wise. I have no idea. Foam Stars shot themselves in the foot with a $40 cosmetic. From what I hear, it's more popular in Asia countries. Oh, well. I don't know if you heard this, but my channel is actually super popular on this little island out in the Pacific Ocean somewhere. We can't prove it, but I heard it's there. It just doesn't show up. They get on late at night and yeah. Not enough bad stuff to complain about. So no talk of foam stars. Very true. Very true. Maybe it's a perfect game, and that's why no one's complaining about it or playing it. They're like, you know what? This game is too goddamn perfect. Let's not complain about it. Let's not even play it. Let's go play games that are shit so we can bitch about it. You might have something there, Z. Right, it's not charted on any map. That's right. But we know it's there. That's right, Salty. All I can say about Foam Stars is it's still available to play. Right. Beautiful connection, Jones, from yesterday when you said an actual game that's dead is one that you can't play. And you're absolutely right. Right? Speaking of that, actually, I want to talk about this next story, right? Remember this game? And then there's games that are dead, right? Like Gigantica, that was dead for 6 years, and all of a sudden it's coming back, right? Gigantica is coming back, right? And then this game, I played this game, and there used to be a clip of me where I cut off someone's head, and I was like, oh my God, this game's awesome. That was 8 years ago, which makes me think about it. Like, holy shit, to be this long as a streamer is crazy. I've actually it's like 10, 11 years now, right? There's people that have been streaming as long as me that are millionaires, and there's me approaching 100 air. Okay, but For Honor hits 35 million players as year 8 approaches. Okay, that's crazy because I've been in this house. We're starting our 8th year, and I remember playing this in my old house. Right, I had different mods and stuff back then when we were on Twitch. Right, I thought it was a good game, but haven't heard anything of it. It died a horrible death of population. Right, and the reason I'm bringing this up is, right, and to Jones's point, right, if nobody talks about the game, but yet there's still a player base, is the game dead? Right now, we're in the middle of a game, right, and people are going to look at this and read this and go, this guy's coping. Suicide Squad is the For Honor 8 years later, where no one is playing it, right? The numbers are complete shit, okay? But here we are. For Honor hits 35 million players as year 8 approaches. Okay, and in a recent video showcase, the year 8 vision for Honor, Ubisoft revealed that the multiplayer title has amassed 35 million players since debuting in September of 2016. In the breakdown of the 8-year roadmap, Ubisoft uncovered substantial array of changes, new features, fresh elements coming to the title, popular sword-based title. Now, this is a live service game. This is a live service game that's been out for 8 years, and no one talks about this. No one's making videos about this. No one's out there saying, "Oh, For Honor's fantastic." And if there are, it's not in the mainstream media. This game must be dead, right? So For Honor has similar operating models Rainbow Six Siege, and the update regularly by Ubisoft. Okay, I'm gonna say it real wrong, so people in the comment section get triggered. I call it Ubisoft. Now, I know people like to call it Ubisoft, but I'm a white guy on the internet, so I'm going to call it Ubisoft. Or Ubisoft. I'll change it when I feel like it. Keeping the game alive, pumping up full content to ensure a solid enough retention of players. In the trailer for 8 years, which you can see below. Now, Ubisoft also revealed that the sizable amount of content coming from For Honor through 2024, including converted maps for more variety. Okay? Converted maps are also regular maps that are also amended and adapted. New heroes and their new samurai and outlanders and villain coming from For Honor this year. And hero skins. Each season will get a new hero skin focused on starting with the knights and then samurai and then the Viking and then finally Wu Win. Okay. Year 8 will see a huge effort in maintaining the overall health for Honor and the Ubisoft leaning into the community feedback to keep the game moving forward. It all kicks off on March 14th in Season 1, which also includes brings a fresh Battle Pass, an all-new Legacy Pass, and featuring which allows users to unlock past content, right? So let's check out this. Let's check out this video here.
We hit 35 million players.
Year 8 in For Honor. It's going to be amazing.
Year 8 is called Forged in War. Under this theme, we're going to explore the most valuable asset in the world of For Honor, our weapons. Our weapons define how we fight and remind us of what we fight for.
Whether you're talking about a crafted story with lore, or maybe your own emergent story of how you brought down an enemy team while breaking in Dominion, that all begins and ends with the weapon.
For example, in Season 1, we're going to see how the Knights fight for chivalry. In Season 2, we're going to explore a samurai story. Season 3 will be about the Vikings, and Season 4, the Outlander. In Year 8, we are going to continue to bring all new battle passes.
Can I just say, I can't imagine them saying Year 8. Year 8, this game's dead, right? And someone's going to come in, watch this after the fact, and go, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, right? Or he sounds salty. Like, I find it hilarious that everyone says games are dead, yet someone forgot about For Honor in the corner over here. Year 8.
Passes at the launch of each new season. Additionally,
We talk about No Man's Sky 7 years later, but no one's talking about For Honor.
we're going to bring a new feature called the Legacy Pass.
What's really interesting about those legacy passes is that if you weren't around at Year 4 and you didn't get to experience that content, you didn't have a chance to get all those cool executions, the cool looking gear, all that sort of stuff, you can actually now get them. If you had bought a battle pass previously, it still is unlocked as it was, and it's at the level it was when the battle pass ended.
For the Legacy Pass, in Year 8, we're going to retrofit the content from the Battle Pass to the heroes that have launched after those Battle Passes. Converted maps are a new feature that we're bringing to For Honor. Players have been asking for a long time for more variety in Dominion map selection. And finally, we're going to bring 2 converted maps through the year. The first will be at the end of Season 1, and
Converted maps. This is what Battlefield did. Battlefield 2042 did converted maps, but they didn't do it in Year 8. They did it in Year 1. They came out with the game, and then Battlefield 2042 literally converted their maps that they made for the next year.
and the second will come by the end of the year.
Converted map is one of the topics that has been raised for years, and our team has been working very, very hard to achieve the goal.
It's not an easy process. We have to add a new minion lane, we have to add capture points, but we're able to take a lot of the amazing content that we have in other game modes and readapt it to have the Dominion experience.
There you go, Kylo.
That's what we're known for.
I am so excited about the heroes that are coming to For Honor in Year 8.
The first will be a samurai in the middle of Season 2, and the second will be an outlander in the middle of Season 4.
Season 2's samurai hero will be very unique and distinct because of samurai is aiming for the mastery, and that this mastery of the weapons are going to be the key of this new hero.
And the other, I'd say, I can reveal it's a villain, and the villain's going to have a pretty major impact.
And she will, can I say she?
Can I say she? You just did. I think you've said too much because now they know.
So hero skins are central to Year 8. They're the ones who are wielding our legendary weapons. In some cases, these legends are forged through the actions of our heroes, and in other cases, our skins may take up a weapon that's already legendary, and they're trying to live up to its name.
In Forged in War, we are going to bring at least 4 hero skins. Season 1 will feature the Knights, Season 2 the Samurai, Season 3 the Vikings, and Season 4 the Wulin.
We also have an additional hero skin coming out for the Knights in the second half of Season 1. And stay tuned for some other surprises.
This girl seems, I'm not making fun of her in any way, shape, or form. She literally seems genuinely excited about what she's working on.
Of Season 1. And stay tuned for some other surprises.
There is a ton to be excited for in Year 8.
We've been doing system improvements in the past. We're going to keep working at that. Make sure that whenever we play, it's fun, it's engaging, and it's fair for everyone. For Year 8, for our testing grounds, we're going to be tackling a couple of different things. Try to help the overall health of the game. I'm always amazed to see how many players actually go and participate in the testing grounds. It's content that we are making for them to really help us understand what they feel the challenges are. And so we're really trying to shape the experience so that it keeps going forward to really push in that direction, right? Play the game, it feels good, and it feels better than ever.
To For Honor.
That was a cool move. That was a cool move.
Play
That
the game,
guy
it feels good, and it feels better than ever.
he like he drops the knife and then he kicks it. That's a pretty cool move.
To For Honor fans, I just want to say thank you very much for trusting us and being with us.
Check out Year 8. It's going to be amazing.
See you on the battlefield.
So, my whole point of this, okay, my whole point to this is that the broad media talks about how games are terrible, games are bad, they're not going to survive, this is a dead game, right? And all these YouTubers run with this, and it's a dead game, dead game. Here's a game that no one talks about, right? And it's a dead game. Obviously, they don't have 34 million people playing the game, okay? Or 35 million people playing the game. But they have a player base. And everyone thinks that if a game doesn't have World of Warcraft numbers, or doesn't have the Fortnite numbers, or doesn't have CSGO numbers, that the game is dead, okay? Like, games can survive off a couple of thousand, if not hundreds of thousands of people, all right, or tens of thousands of people, and they can survive for 8 years, okay? And I just think it's funny that people are always like, games are dead, games are dead, games are dead, right? What did you say, Krebsy? You said that it has 3,500 active on Steam, right? So I guess that game is dead, right? Right, and it's always funny to me. Ubisoft is fine. For Honor has always had enough players justified to keep matching characters and microtransactions. And this is why I talk about why I think we had a conversation last night while we were playing Division 2 with Sarge, right? We were having a conversation, those of you that didn't see it. We're talking about like games that MMOs are going to try to make a comeback, right? But I don't think MMOs are going to be like the massive multiplayer online like they were back in the day. I think they're going to come across more of the Fallout 76s, where you have maybe a couple hundred people on a server instead of 1,000, like mega server type of thing, right? And no matter when you log into that game, it's going to feel like it's a lot of people in that game, because it doesn't matter. It's smaller people, and then if that server dies or whatever, you just kind of move into the next one, right? That's why sometimes when you log into Fallout 76, your house can't be planted because someone else's house is there. So you can either decide to go into that server where you won't have your house, or you move your house. This is why you always argue against people that say dead game. They just need enough players to move forward. That's right, Jones. Right. For Honor's underrated, Ron. I liked For Honor. I thought the combat, what I hated about For Honor is like when you have this like respect, right? You come across one guy, it's just you and me. We're fighting, and then someone comes over and starts to stab you on the side. I'm like, come on, bro. We're doing a one-on-one. Like, stop interrupting. That was my biggest hate towards the game. I mean, I get it. War is war, and there's no rules. There's more like the unwritten rule of respect of like, oh, these two people are fighting. Let's back up. Let's make a circle, right? Type of thing. If this game got in a chivalry-style mode, yet they're failing, in my opinion. Who's failing? This game or chivalry? Hey, Suicide Squad, take note. They haven't even implemented their live service aspect of the game yet, Water. If the game is playing, and Rent and the staff, and they can go till the end of time. That's right. That's right. They don't have to make all the money, right? The devs are making their money, right? The devs are making their paychecks. The higher-ups are making their paychecks. The company's still going, right? They're making money. This is my example yesterday where I was talking about if I opened up my own miniature golf course, I don't need to have people pay $20, right? You make money. You don't need to make all of the money, okay? You can survive. You can live comfortably. You can pay your employees. You know what I mean? And still continue going. See the new Fallout TV show trailer from today? Looks great. I haven't seen the new one yet. Paul. For reference, Borderlands 2 and Left 4 Dead has more than that. Right, but those games are technically dead because those people have paid it once and they've been playing it for 15 years. Do you know what I mean? Jones says most players are honorable. Third parting sucks. I want bigger battlegrounds. Seems claustrophobic. Yeah, I would love... I mean, you would like Chivalry then. You ever play Chivalry, Salty? Chivalry's a great game. It's a great game, and they just updated it recently. Did you ever see the Star Wars event they had? Who? What game, Paul? Chivalry is actually a really, really good game. For Honor had a Star Wars event? Like, Chivalry literally just had... Or Chivalry 2, I should say. If you want large-scale battles, here's the updated trailer for Chivalry. Oh, right in the crotch, dude. It's not cool.
Cleanse the unclean!
Right? And that's a very niche community for Chivalry. Yeah, the combat's not as good as For Honor. For Honor would be awesome if it was Chivalry 2, right? You take Chivalry 2, and you put For Honor combat in it, you would have like the chef kiss of fighting melee games. Look it up. For Honor with lightsabers. All right, let me look that up. Let me look it up. It's like 2 years ago. So this is not a mod. This is like in the actual game. That's cool that they did that. Can we just talk about this? Why isn't there a game like this for Star Wars? You see what I'm saying? We were talking about this last night with Sarge about people that have IPs that have no idea what the fuck they're doing with anything. Okay? Like, we were talking about Hasbro and how Hasbro is sitting on a gold mine of stuff and they do nothing with it. Right? They do nothing with it. Right? Like, why don't we have a For Honor type game, but just with Star Wars? Now, there was a game mode within Battlefront 2, but can you imagine the combat style with this? What actual Star Wars? You have plenty of Jedi to pick from and dark guys to pick from. You know what I mean? Like Sith Lords and Jedi, and you can go on and on and on and on. Ron says, For Honor needs extraction missions with giant bugs to survive. Right? Why isn't there a Star Wars game like this? Yeah, no, I got it, Rose, but when I'm talking about the combat is not the same like this, right? The combat in this would be awesome if this were Star Wars characters with the way they move and stuff, right? It's like, how do you have all of these IPs and you're like, I don't know what to make? And they all make fighting style games like the same, you know? They all make them into that Injustice, Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct, Street Fighter type of stuff. For Honor does fighting differently. I don't know. It's always mind-boggling to me how you have all these IPs and you're just like, I don't know. Let's make bounty hunters, right? Let's make a fighting game on bounty hunters, right? This is the Star Wars games you get. Here, let me show you what. No, what is the new one? I don't want Bounty Hunter's actually the Bounty Hunter Star Wars game. No, I'm talking about the mobile game. What's that called? Isn't it called Bounty, or is it just called Hunters? Yeah, it's called Hunters. Right? It's a goddamn mobile game.
I'm an art director on Star Wars Hunters, and I'm here to give you a sneak peek into how we create a hunter and bring them into our arena.
We're showing the behind the scenes just so you can see the gameplay that they show.
Char is our new tank. He's a Trandoshan trapper, a fearless master huntsman, wielding a scattergun, a ton of gadgets, and a ferocious ultimate ability. When creating Char, we started with his playstyle and gathered references of species that might fit the design. Delving into the Lucasfilm archives, creating mood boards, and discussing different archetypes. A Trandoshan trapper resonated with everyone and instantly felt like Star Wars. We then got stuck into sketching his concept, kitting Char out with lots of traps, tools, and hunting devices. One of the coolest features was giving Char this big skull trophy on his backpack with these glowing eyes that really helped play up his ferocious personality.
Hold on one second.
Our art by building
Don't they show gameplay?
a lot about their in real time. Fine-tuning and just needed one more
How would you know if it looks cool?
A voice.
Dolphin, they don't ever show anything. They just showed cutscenes. Let me try to get gameplay.
Today we're going to be playing a brand new game called Star Wars Hunters. Big shout out to my boy.
It's on the iPad and iPhone and Android.
Put me on a banger.
Right? So here's the gameplay.
So we're going to have to continue to learn about that. Learn about abilities and different things like that. But this is my first game, so I'm just going to start firing stuff. That looks like a little rocket. Oh, that's a scan. That's actually kind of crazy. And then we have, okay, that's ADS. So you can't actually ADS in this game, which is lit. The ADS button is not in a trash spot. I'm pretty sure that's where
this is what they do with the IPs.
I can't remember. Like, it feels good. All the buttons are really small, and you can't enlarge them. You can't change them. The game is still super early. It's supposed to launch this year on...
It was supposed to come out
and on Switch, which is awesome.
Last year, 2 years ago.
So should be able to have a bigger audience for the game. And then there's different modes. There's like control, there's TDM. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different modes that they're gonna have as well. So a lot of new stuff, so much that we have to cover. It's always exciting playing a new game because you don't know what's gonna happen. And it looks like I have my ultimate, so I don't
haven't done anything yet.
Some different games too, so why not? Valorant's coming out, Warzone's coming out. I don't know.
Can we see gameplay?
I have no idea how to...
Fighting.
This is the
Actual fighting? No?
T3.
I'm sorry. What was that?
Will regularly change.
This is what it's turned into. Hold on.
That is pesos. I don't know. But ain't no way it's $400.
I'm sorry. Does that say $400? Is that $400? I hope it's not $400.
For no VIP arena pass, bro. I'm not. Money doesn't grow on trees, baby. Bundles, cosmetics, crystals.
This is gaming in the future, baby. Look at that. There's no fucking way. I hope those are not the prices. 400 crystals, $99. This can't... I'm not going to say this is official, but could you imagine $1,999 for 12,000 crystals? That sounds like a great deal to me. Placeholders, probably. Why would you make a placeholder that number? Why would you pick those numbers for placeholders, Water? Why wouldn't you just put dollar amount, like dollar? I know I didn't know that was gonna happen, but that just seems a little ridiculous, does it not? Mobile, baby. I was just trying to find gameplay. Here we go.
What? Oh, okay, so he just like goes crazy and fires. Oh, I don't know what I'm looking at. See, I don't know what these things are doing, bro. Maybe it was sucking in energy. I think you swing the gun here, yeah?
It's so sad. It's so sad.
So look at these guys. Some of these guys got lights. Oh, he's got a lightsaber. Boy, back off me, dog. Let's use this. Oh, wait, that's actually 6. So some people are literally carrying around.
Great. It's an arena. Fantastic. Fantastic. I guarantee you those are not placeholders. Hell, let's just remove a 0. Move the decimal point over one spot. Instead of $499, it's still $50. Instead of, what was it, 2,900 or what, 1,900? It's still $200. And this is what we get instead of Battlefront 3. All right. I just heard a voice. My wife just freaked me out. All right, so the next thing we want to talk about is Apple kills Epic's iOS game store plans over App Store criticism. Now, after Epic CEO Tim Sweeney criticized how Apple is rolling out alternative app stores on iOS in the EU, Apple terminated its developer account and called the company verifiably untrustworthy. Now, it's funny that Apple said this because if you guys remember, I actually said that Epic wants you to believe that they're the good guys, right? But they're not. They're just trying to become Apple, right? They position themselves to look like they're on your side. We're the low guy in this. We're the small company, which they are. They're the smaller company of Apple. But every company is smaller than Apple except Microsoft. Okay? So every company is the rebels. Okay? So I just find it very, very funny that this Epic tries to position themselves as the good guys and you have to fight for them and they're doing everything for us, the customers. This is why they're doing what they're doing. Okay? Epic's plan to release its own third-party app store on iOS and EU could be trouble after Apple terminated the developer's account plan to use. In a blog post published today, the company shared its letter sent by Apple's lawyers, which called Epic verifiably untrustworthy, okay, and said that Apple does not believe that Epic will comply with the contractual comments under the developer agreement. It says, quote, please be advised that Apple has effectively immediately terminated the developer program membership of Epic Games Sweden AB. Okay, the letter, in which dated March 2nd, states that the cites that Apple's contractual terminate developer program license agreement with the company's Apple's sole discretion. Right, so this is what it says. Epic comes out, Epic's newsroom. Apple has terminated our developer. This sounds exactly like IGN saying, we didn't get a code type of stuff, right? So Apple has terminated our developer account and is now cannot develop Epic Games Store on iOS. This serious violation of the EU's Digital Markets Act, and will continue to fight to get back on iOS. While Apple's termination of developer account impacts Epic's plans to launch its own app store on the iOS, Epic CEO Tim Sweeney suggested in a briefing that Epic could still bring Fortnite back to iOS via another company's third-party app store in the European Union. The exchange came in a wake of Apple's announcing plans to allow a third-party app store on iOS in the EU as a result of the bloc's new Digital Markets Act regulation. Okay, which goes into effect this week. Now, Epic quickly announced the plans to launch a game store on iOS as a result of the changes and relaunch Fortnite on the platform following its removal in 2020. It announced that it secured the developer account for Epic Games Sweden, and also February 16th, reversing the ban Apple implemented alongside Fortnite's removal. Apple alluded to the earlier ongoing ban that Epic's accounts is the statement that verged that Epic breached the contractual obligation to Apple's led courts, determined that Apple has the rights to terminate any of all Epic Games' wholly owned subsidiaries, affiliations, and any other entities under the Epic Games control at any time. And the Apple's sole discretion in light of Epic's past ongoing behavior, Apple chooses to exercise that right, said spokesperson. Okay. In an email dated February 23rd, shared by Epic Games, Apple's Phil Scheller contacted Sweeney to ask the written assurance that Epic Games will be honored and commitments. Okay, concerns the public statement about Apple's DMA compliance plan that the fact that Epic breached its agreement with Apple in 2020 by adding a third-party party payment support on Fortnite iOS, resulting in the removal of the App Store. It planned on unqualified terms, and please tell us why you should trust Epic this time. So Sweeney responded the same day. Epic's subsidiary are acting in good faith and will comply on all terms and current and future agreements with Apple, and will be glad to provide Apple with any specific further assurance to the topic that they, like Sweeney, wrote. Then on March 2nd, Apple's lawyers sent out the letter to Epic Games to say the iPhone maker had terminated Epic Games' Sweden developer account. In the past, Epic also has Apple's developer terms include the Developer Program License Agreement, the DPLA, as a prelude to breaking them. And the letter reads, given the pattern that Apple has recently reached out directly to Mr. Sweeney to give him an opportunity to explain why Apple should trust Epic at the time to allow Epic Games on the Sweden AB to become an active developer. Mr. Sweeney responded to the request as wholly insufficient and also not credible. The letter also cites that February 26 X post from Sweeney, also a recent submission of the Australian litigation. Apple's concern about Epic Games Sweden does not intend to adhere to the actual contractual comments to Apple and the fact of vehicles and to manipulate proceedings in other jurisdictions. Okay. In a brief with reports, Epic's Vice President Public Policy, Corey Wright, and Epic's submission in Australia litigation amounted to confirming the public plans to launch the App Store in the EU as a result of the DMA. All right. So basically what's going on here is Epic doesn't have a leg to stand on, to be honest, right? And they're trying to position themselves as they're the good guys, right? Apple is the empire, and Epic is the rebels, okay? And they're trying to position themselves as the good guys for mankind and what they're trying to do. But what they're really trying to do is just try to make, obviously it's a business, make the most money as possible, right? And since Apple has made the game, right? Basically, the game is that they made the hardware, they make the software, and it's a closed circuit. You might not like it, but they created it. They built it. Okay? And they're trying to break in to try to make more money. And because they can't make leeway, they have to make it a public thing. And this is why Epic always goes to Twitter to bring it out into the open, because they want the public to look at them and be like, look, Apple's the bad guy. We're the good guys here. We're for you, the people. We're trying to get you, because we know you want to spend $99 on a battle pass. We know you want to spend $20 on a skin, right? I'm just saying, generic terms here. But they're fighting for you, the people that want to spend money on Epic, right? And my thing is, if you're an Epic fan, right? If you're a person that's loves Fortnite, there's ways to give them money. There's ways to give them money as far as if you buy it on the console, if you buy it wherever. You know what I mean? So it's interesting to me that they position themselves as the good guy. They're not. All these corporations, conglomerate companies are against us, the consumers. Okay? But they're trying to make it seem like they're the good guys and we should root for them. I don't root sides. I'm not for Apple. I'm not for Epic. I just think it's funny that this is going back and forth now for over 4 years with different litigations, different courtroom things. They won against Google. They're trying to win against Apple. And we'll see what happens, right? But remember, Epic's doing this for you, the people. Bear in mind, the Epic Store is still not profitable. Imagine, instead of taking money like they're doing, going to court to try to get this stuff, right? This is the reason they're going to court to get this stuff, because they're spending way too much money, and they need other avenues to get that money in. And if they can get into the Apple Store, because the Apple, there's billions of devices out there from Apple, and the future is not going to have less Apple devices. It's going to have more Apple devices. Fortnite's trying to break into that market because they're spending way too much money. Hence why they're getting $1.5 billion from Disney. Hence why they're getting it from Lego. Hence why they're getting it from us. They're chewing through money. Okay, they've said this themselves, right? The Epic's launcher is still not profitable. What is it, 5 years later, 6 years later? Still not profitable, right? Which is fine, because in business, usually companies that are 4 or 5 years in, they're taking all their money, putting it back in, and they're not profitable. But they're literally losing millions and billions of dollars on that, right? On that platform. It's funny how they try to open the storefront on Apple, but the storefront on PC is still really bad, even compared to GOG Store. It's like going to the biggest supermarket and asking them to sell the products for free. The Epic Store is not being profitable is because they still give free games 6 years later. Right, but they're spending that money. They're trying to break into the market. There's no difference in what Epic's doing against Steam is what Xbox did when they came into the market against Sony and Nintendo, right? There's no difference. When you're a new company coming into that already a format that's already there, and you're breaking into that market, you have to throw money at it to get in, right? Hence why they made the exclusive deal with, like, didn't they do Gearbox? Wasn't Borderlands 3 exclusive on Epic when it came out? I just think it's funny that they really want to. The end game for Epic is the metaverse. Was it Tiny Tina? No, I'm pretty sure it was. Let's see. There was a timed exclusive, and it's before Tiny Tina. Eclipse says Borderlands 3 wasn't Epic first. Yeah. Yeah, Tiny Tina Wonderlands came out way after, though. It was Borderlands 3. Okay, thank you. That's what I thought. Because I remember the internet losing their mind. They're like, I'm not going to buy. I'll wait till it comes on Steam. Yeah, but Tiny Tina came out way after. Paul says they want to sell stuff on the iPhone and avoid the 30% fee, but they pay it on Sony and Microsoft. Right. That's because the 30% of a billion devices is a lot different than 30% of tens of millions. Right? You know what I mean, Paul? That's a lot of money you lose. Right? That's a lot of money. 1 billion devices and 30% of that. It's not that they don't want to pay that money. They just want to make all the money. It's almost like a small company when they have to pay for the servers, right? Where they're eating into their... They don't have the money. BattleBits did this. Helldivers was having this problem with the servers and whatnot, right? You haven't made the money yet. They made the money, but they haven't got paid yet, and then they have to get the servers. Well, once they buy the servers, then you're putting more money out. So, Palworld was having a problem. Helldivers was having a problem, right? Like BattleBits had that problem because they were growing so rapidly they couldn't pay, and getting the servers, they were going bankrupt because of it. Yeah, because it's unfair, right? That's what basically it is. It's unfair, right? And I'm not saying it's unfair. I'm saying their Epic is saying it's unfair because they built the house and they own the land. Right? Apple owns the land and they built the house, the store on that land. And Epic's coming in going, well, we don't want to pay rent to come into your store. We want to be a part of your land, and we don't want to pay the fee. Right? And Microsoft is different because they don't make devices. The only people that make devices, right? I mean, Apple is the one that makes the devices. Android, Google, right? They make devices as well. They won against them. They won. I forget what they won though against them for, but it's just funny to me, right? What's Apple's? Let's see, devices. Apple devices. 2 billion active devices. Apple surpasses. February 2nd, 2023. Apple revealed now it has 2 billion active devices. That's 2 billion. Sure, I have an iPad. I have an iPhone. My wife has an iPhone and an iPad. But there's 2 billion devices out there that they don't have stuff on. Super off topic, but Jake Paul, 27, will be fighting Mike Tyson, 57, on Netflix in June. He's going to get his ass kicked. Mike Tyson will wreck him. But then again, it's set up. So they'll make a lot of money off of that, and they'll both get paid. But Mike Tyson will destroy him at the age of 57. You're talking about Jake's not even a real boxer. Have you seen Mike Tyson? Have you seen him? It's a monster, dude. I think he's in better shape now at 57 because he's got more experience up here. Apple have let the third-party app stores now in the EU. Here, devices in the United States, just the United States. According to the latest data on smartphone market share, the U.S., as of December of 2023, Apple has the biggest piece of the pie with 61.3%. Okay? That's why they're trying to get around it. The EU is a smaller change, right? 61% is in this market. Sure, Water. It's exactly right. They're both making money. House, yeah, I think House is way behind. Dolphin says Mike isn't doing all that cocaine now. Mike Tyson when he was younger, when he was 18, 21, right? He was pure strength, right? But he wasn't smart up here. Now, at the age of 57, he is pure strength and he's got fucking 40 years more of experience, right? Like 39 more years of experience. There's no way that Jake would take Mike Tyson down. I wouldn't fight Mike at 80. Yeah, no, seriously. Look, boxing, this whole stuff right here is a big promotion. They're both getting paid, okay, big bucks, okay? But there's no way in hell, if there was a straight up fight, there's no way Jake would take Mike. No way. I did research last week. Globally, Apple is around 30%. Knows nuts that Apple is US is 60% and global 30%. Yeah. They want this market. I don't know what one has to do with another house. Here, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. There is no way you could not pay me enough money to get in the ring with this dude. There's no way. This dude is 57, okay? And he's in the shape of his freaking life. No way. You think an untrained, even if Jake is trained, right? Even if he is trained, he's a baby. He's a baby. You know what I'm talking about? Even if Jake was training for the last 5-6 years, ain't shit. Tyson's been training for literally since he was like 13, 14 years old. He was like, on top of him being still great shape, he also is fucking nuts. He did bet a dude's ear off. That's a different state. He's a much better place now in his head. $100% Water. 100%. If it's a real fight, there's not a fight. But it's all about the money. And think about this, right? Think about this. Let's just say in a world Jake wins. That is a 27-year-old beating up on a 57-year-old. That's basically a grandkid beating up on his grandfather and then going, yeah, I'm better than you. Like, it doesn't look good either way, right? And at the end of the day, Mike Tyson just whooped a 27-year-old's ass. Right, Rose. That's what I'm saying. There's no way. There's no way. To think otherwise is just silly, right? Right? The check has to be crazy. And good for them. Good for them for making the money while they can. Well, Mike Tyson probably has to pay someone off. He's like, I just bought my 10th house. I need to pay my taxes this year. Yeah, I'll do the job. And Jake's just trying to stay relevant. That will be one of the largest payoffs for Netflix. That's for sure. Salty says Mike's got his own weed. He's doing okay. Yeah, we just showed it, Prosy. We just showed him sparring. There's no way I'm getting in the ring with that dude. I don't care how much money you pay me. What's that movie where you have to? I forget what movie it is. There was a movie, and I'm not talking about Spider-Man, but you pay enough, and you have to last like a round. My ass would just run around that ring for 3 minutes. I'll be like, $15 million. Hey, you just running around. It'll be like, stand still. I'm gonna kill you. Come over here. Take it like a man. I'm gonna beat your ass. How much money would you guys take for just Mike Tyson? Let me bring up the clip again. Hold on a second. Let me bring up this clip. Hold on. Let me. Let's watch this, and then I'll ask the question. Okay. How much for just to stand there, right? Just to stand there, and then him just punch you as hard as he could. How much money would you need? First, we'll talk about chest area. He'll probably kill me. He'll break my sternum. Okay? Or take one to the head. Does the money matter if I'm a vegetable? That's right, House. With or without pads? No pads. Just straight up one punch. That's not how I run all turn. That's my running in a 5-foot radius. I run like Tom Cruise in I'm good. I'll keep my health. Dolphin says, "Yeah, I'm good." Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. Look at that face. Right there when he gets hit. Right here when he goes up against the ropes. This last shot right here. Right here. He's like, oh. He's like, oh. He's like, he could have. That dude is like, oh my God, I'm going to die. Go on, Ford. Props for Jake getting in the ring. Say what you want about him, but to get in the ring, the whole time he's like, it doesn't matter if I train, I'm gonna die. But how much am I getting paid? And they'll go up to Mike. I'll be like, can you go easy on me? This is not Rocky. Jake's not Balboa. You know what I mean? and Tyson's the Russian. This is 100% show, and they're both getting paid. Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's on Netflix. All right. I want to watch this. I'm going to get probably... So if you're watching this live, you'll see it with me. If you're not watching it live, it'll probably get demonetized, and I'll have to cut it from the video. So we'll see here. All right, here's the trailer. You know what? I wanted to see it on YouTube. I don't want to see it off this. Let me find it on YouTube. The new one, right? 2 hours ago? Okay. It does look... Visually, it looks good. Visually, I think it looks good. Yeah, I think they've shown a little too much. Right? But I'm really excited the way it feels. It looks like Fallout. Okay? Now, the story has to be good. Right? And it all depends on what story they're telling. If it's an original story, if it's, you know, obviously the story of what Fallout is, but from her perspective or whatnot, I think it looks pretty good. I'm actually probably going to watch that. And then we'll go up, you know, episode by episode. It looks good, man. Like, look, I don't know if that is CGI or if that's practical. That looks practical. It's so hard to fucking tell nowadays. I think that's practical. Obviously, it's a puppet, and they're removing stuff and certain things, and I'm not going to say it's 100% all, but Mr. Handy, that looks practical. Practical makeup, right? Lots of practical stuff. What is she from? I gotta look her up. Well, there's definitely CGI. There's definitely CGI, but there's a lot of... I wonder if there's like a... Let's see, do they have...
Future, obviously, you know, there'll be games in the future. In the near future, something that's brand new that I'm super excited about is the TV show. A lot of movie producers and stuff would like, hey, this would be a great movie. And for, you know, 10 years plus said no. Just wasn't the right fit.
It's fun to see, you know, I'm glad that something, an IP.
She's the daughter in Army of the Dead. That's what it is, Krebsy. We watched that. I remember. That's what she's from.
Has grown and has turned into this franchise. I mean, we're getting a TV show.
So I've actually been blown away by how much they've stuck with our original visions and designs on the visual side of our world building in the games, directly translating that to the screen. It's sort of, you know, it's reassuring that, well, we got it right the first time. Like our approach to Fallout was correct, and it is the way forward, even making the jump to another medium.
You know, one of the people I've always wanted to do it was Jonathan Nolan. You know, I love the movies he's written and worked on with his brother, and his TV shows with Lisa Joy and Westworld. And Jonah and I connected and was, you know, would this be something that would interest you? And it turned out he was a big fan of it.
Can you tell us a little bit about Fallout?
Fallout?
Fallout, the video game?
I love video games. I'm not familiar with the Fallout. Tell me a little bit about it. Thanks, Adam.
That's good. I like it.
It's a video game. 25th anniversary is coming up in October.
Fallout. Yes, the post-apocalyptic, humorous, dark, bleak, brilliantly written, annoyingly playable video game franchise.
How did you get involved?
Well, several years ago, I decided I was going to write the next great American novel, and then a friend gave me a copy of Fallout 3. And now I'm working in television.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I was gonna write the next great novel, but then a friend gave me Fallout 3, and now, and now I'm working in television. What is this? This is from October. Let me see if this is like behind the scenes stuff. Hold on one second. No, this is just. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. I haven't said that in quite a bit about TV shows and stuff. Right? Oh, I knew he was joking, Krebsy. Right, he did season 1 of Westworld, and then it went to shit. Yeah, it actually looks pretty good. Now, obviously, I know there's people out there, they look at it and go, a girl lead? I didn't think that in any way, shape, or form. I'm looking at it going, all right, I want to know the story. Okay. I think it's going to feel more like a, based on the trailer, it's going to go from sort of like The Walking Dead a little bit, where like one episode you might follow her or might skip to the guy that's going to the Brotherhood and then skip to the guy who, you know what I mean? Like it's going to have a different story with each of the characters within the world itself. I don't know if they would do it like one episode or sort of like a Game of Thrones type of thing where they follow one person for majority of the episode and then they switch it over to the other person. We'll see what happens there. That's the vibe I get off the trailer that we just watched. They have another patch that they did on top of the patch. Helldivers, we received their medals that fought on... Oh, yeah, it was for the thing. A supercomputer is also doing a thing now. Efforts will be rewarded. So there's a patch, I guess, they implemented. They're very active in that community, man. Very active. I watched the very first season, Dolphin, and then I stopped. Here's the thing with the patches that they're doing, Water, is that I feel like they've set the tone, which could be bad and could be good, right? Because if they stumble, and then all of a sudden this constant communication and fixing the patches runs fine, then cool. Do you know what I mean? But if it doesn't, okay, then it starts to look bad on them. Stealth, is that the thing about the Batman thing? I know which one you're talking about. It's the cityscape. Yeah. I saw that earlier. Yeah, the Gotham city landscape. Yeah. It's $300. It's pretty cool though. $300. I don't pay $300 for art. Yeah, it looks cool. All right. The last thing we're going to do today is going to watch... we watched the Dune Awakening thing the other day. And I like Force Gaming. So we're going to watch him talking about Dune, and then we'll have a conversation. Because he talks about stuff. I don't know if he picked up other stuff from articles or whatnot. But as he was talking, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch this on stream. I watched the first couple of minutes of it. So let's watch it.
great success. I mean, Palworld peaked at like over 2 million concurrent players, which put it in second place of all time, just behind PUBG. And Enshrouded, while a much smaller game in comparison, capping out at 160,000 concurrent, I'll just say I personally enjoyed that game a whole lot more, thanks to it feeling like a good old-fashioned RPG adventure on top of the survival elements. And then, of course, there was Sons of the Forest, which after a year of updates and improvements left early access into full release and seems to be trucking along nicely. And we also saw Nightingale release into early access, although unfortunately that one didn't quite land as well as I had hoped. Let's see if they can turn that ship around in the coming.
No one's talking about Nightingale. No one's talking about Nightingale, which is sad because I wanted to play Nightingale, but it just kind of fell to the wayside.
Years. So yeah, we're only a couple months into the year, and already fans of the survival genre have a lot on their plate. Well, strap in, because there's another contestant stepping into the arena with the hopes of being crowned the best new survival game of 2024, and that is quite a tall order given, as I just went over, all of the great games that we've seen thus far. I'm talking about Dune Awakening, the open-world survival sandbox MMO being developed by Funcom. This is a studio that is quite established in both genres this game is dipping its toes into. Their MMO lineage goes all the way back to 2001 when they released Anarchy Online, followed by Age of Conan and The Secret World in subsequent years. And then, of course, they've got their survival game, Conan Exiles, which launched in 2018 and is probably...
I liked Conan. I thought Conan was actually really good. Again, during the time when it came out, it was like 8 years ago, I was still playing Destiny a lot, so I didn't get to play a lot of other games.
The studio, what they're best known for, as well as being their most successful release, Funcom has stated on numerous occasions that with Dune Awakening, their hope, their goal, is to take the past 20 years of experience in both of these genres and bring them together in what they are hoping is their best game yet. And yeah, I am hoping for that too. I've been keeping a close eye on this one since it was announced about 2 years ago, and news really has been ramping up recently. Beta testing, we know, is currently underway. Things are going well, at least according to the developer, and it looks like they are still on track to release the game later this year. On the surface, when you take a look at its features and planned content, Dune Awakening does sound like a pretty promising premise. Beyond the basics,
it does sound like a good premise. Me and Sard were talking a little bit about it last night when we were playing Division 2. We'll talk about it more tonight on GXG.
Of what we have known and covered in prior videos, they recently held a 30-minute showcase providing a whole lot more detail and some gameplay footage. They're describing this game as their take on survival in an open world sandbox while harkening back.
If you guys haven't played Flight Simulator, they put Dune, the airship, inside there. Phenomenal. My son was playing it and I got to try it, and it's fun, man. It's fun.
To the days of traditional
you got the
MMO
sandstorms coming in and whatnot.
For the survival elements, these will include the traditional beginnings of starting out with nothing and then venturing out to gather the things needed to survive. You'll be collecting water from plants and bodies to stave off thirst, keeping in the shade to reduce water consumption, avoiding or engaging with enemy NPCs as well as other players, collecting loot, and even taking shelter from its deadly sandstorms. Then, of course, there is going to be crafting. You'll be gathering resources, various forms of stone, plants, and metals, which you will then use to build up an arsenal.
I didn't even realize that. I want to go back for a second.
Resources,
when he's melting the rock,
stone, plants, and metals, which you will
look at the what do you call that? The magma coming off of it.
Then use to build up an arsenal of weapons, gear, clothing. There's base building and even vehicle construction. You'll go through the typical survival loop, starting out with nothing, gathering the basic resources to craft basic tools, then build basic crafting stations, which lets you progress into the next tier to gather better resources to craft better tools, so on and so on and so on. As for the game's MMO elements, well, for one, they've said that servers will be supporting up to...
I know what you mean, Salty. I know what you mean. Yeah, it seems... There's something off about it, right? It doesn't seem like you look at the scene and it looks lived in, but you look at the characters, they don't look lived in. Like they look too clean.
Thousands of players simultaneously, and will feature an endgame that's centered around this large-scale combat with groups of players split into various factions, all fighting for resources in what they are calling all-out ground and air warfare, combined arms, similar to what you see in games like Battlefield or...
See, anytime I play a game like this, I'm interested because I'm interested in the IP. So being in this world and going and seeing what this stuff is, that intrigues me. But then the game mechanics come in. And again, I don't want to go too far into my thoughts because I want to talk to Sarge tonight on stream.
planet side. You'll have people running around on foot doing shooting, melee, casting abilities and stuff, and then people in various ground and air vehicles coming into the fray as well at a massive scale. For the game's combat, it is a third-person action shooter type of a game. You'll pick from a wide array of crafted weapons, gadgets, vehicles, gear, and abilities from different great schools of the Imperium, which is basically the Dune's universe's take on magic systems. This will also be tied into various progression and leveling systems where you unlock new abilities with time. So what they've said is that when you make a character, you will select who your mentor is, and this is sort of like picking a starting class. It's going to determine the abilities you begin with, and then as you play, you level up, unlocking new skills along the way. But then also out in the world, you're going to find various trainers who have their own abilities, and they will teach these to you after you complete certain tasks.
And I like that because that goes back to the Star Wars Galaxy's mentality of learning stuff in the game.
For them. So after you do a couple of quests or build up their reputation or something like that. In terms of the game's overall combat, they refer to it, I mentioned it a moment ago, but they're calling this combined arms. It consists of some combination of melee, ranged abilities, and vehicles. Each of these elements players can utilize at various times in combat. They can specialize in them. You can specialize in being a melee character with melee focused abilities, ranged, scout, etc. There's going to be a lot of kind of special.
No, you can't ride the worm. The guy said in the interview that you can't ride the worm. Well, he said you can't kill the worm or ride the worm, I think. He didn't actually... I don't think he referenced the not riding the worm part.
Specialization within the different roles that
He said you can't kill it.
You can fulfill. And the game's world, combat plays a big role in it. You know, you start off with little, you go out, you adventure, take on some PvE threats. Eventually, you'll find yourself in PvP scenarios. The world is going to be divided into multiple separate sections, which can be boiled down to safe areas and hostile regions. And in those hostile areas, you'll of course find highly valuable resources and loot. But at the same time, it's going to be full-on, all-out PvP. And they've even mentioned that friendly fire exists in the game, so you best be careful.
Which is fine. Friendly fire is fine.
Where you're pointing that gun. Another big part of the Dune game is going to be the environment, but then also the large creatures within them. And I'm explicitly talking about sandworms here because besides other players and factions of enemy NPCs, sandworms exist as this omnipresent threat while playing the game. They are drawn by player activity and especially alerted during combat. They have actually referred to this, their implementation of sandworms, as a tension mechanic that forces players to think about their actions for fear of drawing the worm's attention, because there are two things to keep in mind. Number one,
he dead.
You can't kill sandworms no matter what you do, no matter what weapons you have. They ain't dying. The only thing that you can really do is try to avoid them. So they're going to be smaller sandworms, which will be drawn to and chase down individual players or small groups of players, but then also the giant ring-mouth sandworms that show up at large.
We don't know the actual number, L, on how many players per server.
Events like faction battles and wars that take place over spice, which is the game's highly coveted resource used for a lot of the various progression and crafting systems. These ones are said to be so large that they will be in fact swallowing entire buildings. I'm curious how that's going to be implemented in the game.
Right. Like, how is that going to be implemented? Because you can build your house in your safe area, and you can also build a house out in the middle of the world, but the landscape's going to change. So if you're building your house out in the middle of the world, the sandworm can come. It's like, how many... You might build it once, and you'll never do it again. Because you're like, why would I lose my shit like that?
Game, but it sounds like a cool premise. And then you can also use distracting techniques, like you can call in thumpers, which will direct a sandworm, either drawing it away from somewhere you want to be, or maybe you place a thumper down by other players where you want the sandworm to go and mess up their day. There's going to be a kind of a lot of play here with the environment and calling the sandworms to and away from you. You can also use vehicles to avoid or escape the sandworms, like ornithopters have you flying in the air. That's obviously a great way to avoid them. Or if you have a sand bike, you can use that to run away when you know that a sandworm is incoming. And then the sands themselves are going to be changing the environment. And
a game perspective, though, I'm like, let me back up a second. The game perspective, I don't like pausing on someone's face. The game perspective, okay, you're out there, you have a flying machine. Because there are sections. Now, if my ship gets blown up, right? I own my ship. I built my ship. I'm playing PvP. Someone with a rocket launcher or something blows up my ship. Do I have to rebuild that ship? Or is it out of commission and I get it back and I can recall it in? You know what I mean? like, I know they don't have the answers right now, but this is where my brain goes when you're in and you're like, you can build a vehicle and you can fly over the thing, right? There's a lot of stuff that goes into that. Obviously, those machines are going to be later game, higher level type stuff. You're not going to get a flying machine at level like 2. You know what I mean? So I just want to know how that stuff works as we get closer.
Coming. And then the sands themselves are going to be changing the environment and the play space. So apparently there's going to be specific areas of the game subject to the shifting sands feature, where once a week, acting like a weekly reset,
this is a cool feature.
Sandstorms will roll in, completely changing the environment and the landscape in these regions. They can wipe out player outposts, cover up and reveal brand new points of interest, highly valuable resource locations, various spots for loot, all sorts of potential here. This is actually a really interesting sounding system, and I like that they have this thematic way to provide these dynamic areas where every week new points of interest will show up, old ones will go away, player constructed buildings.
That's cool. So in Star Wars Galaxies, they didn't have a thing where you change the landscape, but the landscape changed naturally over time. So if you ran between two cities and you were like farming out in the middle of the world, all of a sudden someone decided to build a house there. So as you're running from like Tatooine over to, or I should say Mos Eisley on Tatooine, you would run out to the wild, then all of a sudden you would see a house, and then you would come back a couple days later and there was 2 houses and 3 houses, and then it was a city, and there was walls, and then there was a spaceport. Like it changed over time. I like what they're doing in the mechanic here, where you're out in the middle of the world. There's like certain areas that will change. So the sand dunes will change over time. So if you did build a house out there, your house could be completely covered and destroyed. Now, I want to know the mechanic. If people build on that area and my house all of a sudden gets taken over by sand, we don't know where that is, but then like 2 weeks later, the board changes again, is my house going to get exposed again? Or is it a reset? Like everything there just gets destroyed and it's not a persistent area. You know what I'm saying? Like it's sort of like taking a sandbox and moving it around. Like the sand can move, but the stuff that you put in there, is it going to persistently stay there, or does it automatically get reset and they just change the landscape of what it is? Another thing I want to know.
Within these areas will potentially get swallowed up, although do keep in mind there is safety regions of the world, so there are safe areas where you can build a base.
There's safe areas you can build.
Essentially build a base out in the wild to more easily ferry your goods or whatever, or provide shelter while you're out exploring, but you have to realize that those will not be permanent structures because the incoming shifting sands and even the sandworms could at some point get rid of them. Speaking of base building, there will of course be base building in this game. In fact, the developer said that they took the systems used in their other survival game Conan Exiles and have that as the base foundation for the crafting and building, but they have further improved and added upon it. So it's going to be a template style of building. You're not placing down like individual tiles, but rather taking these templates and putting down a floor
like a
chunk,
blueprint.
a wall chunk, roofs, stairs, all of the usual fare. You can then also construct various forms of refining stations, crafting stations, and production facilities. There's going to have co-op building in the game, and this will be facilitated through these holograms that let your allies see.
Right, the holograms are like in Grounded and other games where I'm building something. If we're working together as a team, we can all build in the same base. So if I want to put a wall, I can place the entire building down in a hologram form, and then people that have the resources can run up and then build that thing, which is cool.
And contribute to a construction. So for example, if you place down a workbench, that might require some combination of stone and metal. You and other players can then fill those requirements. Once they're full, the bench is complete and constructed. You can also, as you're building a base, you can create blueprints, which you can then either gift to your friends or even sell to other players on the game's in-game.
I have more on that, and I'll talk about the blueprints and stuff down the road tonight with Sarge on GXG.
Exchange, basically like an auction house. And as I mentioned, there will be different types of base building. You will have these permanent base structures that you can build in safe locations, but there will also be more on-the-go structures that you build while out exploring the dunes of Arrakis. They've even mentioned how you can have base defense, like by generating a personal shield just for your base to help protect.
I think this is cool, right? They're showing where you have fighters and you have like a cargo type of stuff. So if this is like a guild, right? Like me, Prosy, Eclipse, House, we're all playing, right? One of us is flying this, the other 4 are flying that, and we're working together type of stuff. That would be cool.
protect it from sandstorms and enemy players as well. The game's going to feature plenty of co-op as well. You can group up and explore with others. They have an in-game ping system to let you point stuff out. I really like that this has been more widely implemented in games without having to use VoIP, being able to communicate with people in your party without having to chat, without having to type it out. It's just a really nice feature. I'm glad they're including it. And they also really try to emphasize the fact that while playing as a group, you can fill different roles. And this is going to apply in a variety of contexts. So this applies in like the exploration and combat context, where depending on the abilities that you're using, you can be more offensive, more defensive, and more support. But this also applies more widely to how you play the game with you.
So before, when I saw there was, you know, here, let me
and more support, but this also applies more widely to how.
Okay. So obviously, if I'm going out and exploring in the world and I come across things, I can break things off to have parts. I thought this would be cool. There was another scene before where it was a crash landing, and I was like, I wonder if my thing gets blown up and gets landed on the ground, if someone else comes across that, could they pick it apart and take bits and pieces from that, right? Or can I stumble across one, and if I have the pieces, okay, I can fix it like No Man's Sky type of thing, and then it becomes mine. You know what I mean? That would be pretty cool. Obviously, I'm making up shit in my head as I see stuff. I'm just asking. Like, right now, he's doing where looks like he's breaking pieces off. It doesn't look like he's fixing it. It looks like he's breaking it apart.
How you play the game with you.
Oh, no, it looks like he's fixing it. I stand corrected. It looks like I thought he was burning it apart. I stand corrected. He is not cutting it. He is repairing it. So maybe that answers my question. Yeah, he's not cutting that. He is repairing it.
With you able to fill different roles that are beyond combat or beyond just gathering resources and doing the general survival loop, and I'll touch on that in a little bit. They also say they have a journey system and a system of contracts, which basically just sound like variations of questing, of different tasks that you can complete for various resources, experience, reputation gain. And they have mentioned that they are going to make sure to try to fulfill various types of content for both small groups, individual players, and then large-scale guild-focused activities and content. Politics are going to play a big role as well.
Politics have to play a big role. Otherwise, I think Water even said it earlier, otherwise it's not Dune.
As the game's overarching goal, the big thing that's focused here is this ongoing war between two factions, and at some point in progression, you as a player will pick which faction you want to fight for.
See, now two factions is good. If you start putting 3 factions in, obviously, you can have a third faction if you want, but what I'm saying is the 2 major factions is good. If you put more, like you did in New World, it kind of comes lopsided. One becomes mega, one becomes mediocre, and the other one is just, dead on arrival, right? And when people see that one guild has more, then more people join that one because they want the benefits of that guild. Where the other one, some people like to be the underdog, and they're like, well, I'm going to join this, and we're going to try to build up, but it doesn't work that way, right? The one overpowers the other. So when you have 2, it kind of makes it a better feel game-wise.
And then you're going to partake in missions for that faction, working your way up the ranks with the opportunity to take a position of power for the most dedicated players. That sounds like a high warlord grind or something like that. You're just going to be grinding up the ranks for reputation, and there are going to be some top spots, although they have not yet clarified from what I've saw.
I want to listen to that again.
Faction, working your way up the ranks with the opportunity to take it.
That's cool. So working your way up the ranks of the faction. Okay. Now, what would be cool is that obviously anybody that, if you play like a Battlefield game, or there's always the people that come in and they have more experience and they start talking to you because they just want that leader role. I think it would be cool in a game like this, in this MMO. Again, I'm just spitballing here, right? It'd be cool if you work your way up the ranks and other things unlock for you where other people can't do stuff, so you get like benefits. So you are the actual leader. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
A position of power for the most dedicated players.
So not everyone can be that leader just because you want to be that leader. It's the people that work their way up actually have other benefits and to become the actual leader.
It's like a high warlord grind or something like that. You're just going to be grinding up the ranks for reputation, and there are going to be some top spots, although they have not yet clarified from what I've saw what that unlocks access to other than maybe a title. Maybe there's more.
Right, and that's exactly what he just said there, right? I don't want just a title. Like, I think people that work their way up to that level, there should be something there to actually give them something.
We just don't know. I just don't know as of yet. And then also they spent part of this presentation just talking a bit about the game's visuals. I gotta say, looks a lot better than what we saw in the early days. It definitely seems like through development they have progressed quite a bit on the visual.
Yeah, basically, Salty. Like, if someone wants to be a leader, but they don't, it's not even about your rank. It's about going up a skill tree, becoming that political figure, right? And then and absolutely being in charge. As unfair or whatever it is, right? That guy's got more time. That's the only reason. It doesn't matter, right? At that point, if you have two people that got to that level, but one's an actual leader and one just has a title, obviously the person with the actual leadership skills would shine over the other person.
Front, they spoke a bit about some of the technical advantages that the Unreal Engine 5 gives them.
Like in Hell Let Loose, anyone can become a commander. But the people that know what they're actually doing are really good commanders.
To try to make the game look really good. A lot of the same stuff that you hear pretty much from any developer using Unreal Engine 5, but they just recapped by saying, hey, Lumen is here to create natural looking lighting. This looks especially great indoors and even in player crafted buildings. And then of course Nanite, which breaks down high quality assets into lower poly versions based on player distance, rather than all the extra work the developers used to have to do to create these level of detail models, making different versions of all the game's assets depending on how far away the player was to them. So great features, great tech in UE5.
Okay, this scene right here,
depending on how far away.
This scene right here, someone was asking earlier, like, what biomes? It's just desert. That's all it is, desert. But the way they talked about how the sands change and whatnot. So let's say we start the game out and all of a sudden this is exposed, okay? But then next week comes and that's covered up and then something else is exposed. That's an interesting concept because things... It would change and feel new all the time. But if that's the case, and you could become a map smith or a cartographer, okay, how does that work? Every week, do I have to rerun the exact same location I had before to make a new map to then sell to people? And then that's a one-time buy. Is it worth buying if it's going to change in 6 days? And how long is it going to take me to go around to make the map? You know what I'm saying? I have so many questions.
Way the player was to them. So great features, great tech in UE5. Lets devs make games that look good. From what we're seeing in this most recent showcase, yeah, I think Dune Awakening looks pretty darn good. Now, towards the end of the event, they also released a new gameplay trailer, which had quite a few clips showcasing some of these in-game features and content. So we saw the intro, the basic survival start, where players begin with nothing and then go out scavenging for resources. We saw one of those small sandworms emerging from the dunes and then chasing the player. We got some great examples of crafting with a player building a suit of armor, placing down pieces of a base, and even constructing crafting stations. There were a few shots of some ground and air vehicles on display. We saw traversal systems with players climbing the side of the mountain, which looked cool. There were some high-tech gadgets on display. We saw air combat with an ornithopter.
That's cool.
We saw a little bit of magic use, such as these players levitating, combined with a few quick combat clips. There was also a moment in the trailer.
I wonder if the PvP section is that everyone has access to the ships and tanks and whatnot, or if it's bring your own.
Where one large, what looked to be like a guild base being constructed, and then finally players scouting out one of these in-progress large-scale combined arms battles taking place. You see like little players running around with their guns, you see ground and air vehicles all combined with explosions and shooting and tracer rounds and abilities. I mean, if done right and if it runs well and if it plays well, that's a really cool, the idea of getting like a battlefield or a planet side inside.
Yeah, planet side, right? Inside the MMO. That'd be cool.
Of a survival sandbox MMO. Sounds great if they can actually deliver on the tech, on having gameplay that feels good and making sure it doesn't run like total garbage. If they can do that, that sounds really good. Most notably from the trailer.
Now my brain's hurting though a little bit because it's like, how is that going to work? If they make it like a planet side type of stuff, you're on a mission or you're on a server. Let's say there's 1,000 people on the server. The two guilds are there. All of a sudden it's 100 v 100, whatever, 64 versus 64. Is it like you opt in and then everyone waits around for the battle to happen? Do you sign up like, hey, there's a battle happening at 7 p.m. tonight, like type of stuff? In Star Wars Galaxies, there was a moment where you actually had to meet up at a point and then you all moved. So you would actually have to coordinate in-game chat with your guild on the LFG forums and stuff. 8 o'clock tonight, we're meeting at this location, and then we're all going to move together to fight. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things that happen, and obviously that'll show itself as the game's out.
It did feature what looked to be a close representation of the Dune film's main actor, but not close enough for them to have to pay any of the likeness rights. It's just like, got like the curly hair and like this same general face shape. I just thought it was kind of funny. Now, following this, we also saw an interview released with PC Gamer where Dune...
Right. I don't want that either, Prosy.
Dune Awakening's creative director discussed how they're pulling a lot of inspiration from old school MMORPGs. He said that Star Wars Galaxies was a huge inspiration for us. That is the style of MMO we really like, the old sandboxy MMOs. Then World of Warcraft came out and everyone copied that for a few years. Yeah, just a few years, or still do. But a lot of us are old school MMO players. Funcom's been around for a while, even made one of the originals with Anarchy Online. After that, he went on to talk about the fact that a lot of the old school MMO design then kind of splintered off into other genres in the post-WoW era. And this is he's on point here. He said the crafting part of MMOs became survival games with smaller private servers. MOBAs were like the MMO PvP mini games back in the day. The survival elements are a different kind of funnel into the game, at least that's the way I think about it, but I don't think they're miles apart. We like that concept that this is where survival games are. They are the sandbox break off of MMOs, and we can bring that back. And yeah, I mean, in my opinion,
that's easy to say and really hard to do, and I hope they can do it.
And he is spot on here with this idea that what was once a part of a larger combination of features that we saw included in many of the in the early MMORPGs. A lot of that got spun off into different genres over the years, because after the success of WoW, it seems pretty much every subsequent MMO, with but a few exceptions, has kind of followed along that theme park formula.
Yeah, PlanetSide
Blizzard
2
helped bring into the mainstream and popularize. And then instead of getting other new kinds of MMOs over these years, we've just seen parts of that genre get spun off and turn into more focused games. So yeah, MOBAs kind of took the place of MMO PvP and just removed that long character progression time investment of having to level up a character and then gear it up and then do the PvP. They said, hey, let's just do the PvP, make it round-based, you get gear, you level up, but all within like a 30 to 60 minute time frame of an individual game. And then yeah, survival games kind of took that sandbox element of some of those early MMOs and then consolidated it and shrunk it down into an experience on a smaller and more refined scale. And so instead of getting a lot of actual large-scale survival sandbox MMOs, we get smaller survival games and theme park MMOs.
Right. And that's what I missed. This is why I stopped playing MMOs back in back in the day, because they kept breaking it up and making it into separate little sections of things in different games. Right? The old-fashioned open-world sandbox MMOs is what I really liked.
And that's how it is. And they've said here that with Dune Awakening, they're hoping to bring a lot of that old-school MMO into the...
This just makes me sad, I'll be honest. Like, what I'm hearing about Dune and that it wants to be... implement some things like Star Wars Galaxies. I just want a Star Wars Galaxies game.
Now established version of the survival genre, and they hope to do this with a larger scale and a diverse way to play the game, and that's where some of the more MMO elements are going to come into play. Beyond just the large number of players on a server, this is where that old school MMO inspiration is going to come into play with Dune Awakening, because they discussed in detail during that showcase how players can fill various roles in terms of how they play. Of course, combat will be a focus. You can focus on going out and questing and doing PvE and grinding. And
but when you focus in combat, if you don't want to be a combat, you have to have at least the basics of combat, and then you're going to go off the passive route type of stuff, like you're a builder or something. And then if you go out in the world, you're just going to get your ass kicked.
Collecting resources and all that stuff. Or you can focus on the PvP, because a big part of the end game is going to be that big conflict with other players fighting over those valuable
You know what'd be interesting? If you go up a certain route in your faction, the only people that can fight in the PvP, and I know people are going to disagree with me here, but I think this would be interesting. If you want to fight in the PvP, you have to become like part of the guard. right, of the army of that faction, right? So you go up that thing, and there'll be benefits for you to be a part of that. Do you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm a blacksmith, I don't want to be PvP. I don't want to be forced to do PvP, but the people that want to do PvP, they have to go up that route to be PvP, and they get benefits because as they fight PvP, they would get rewards and whatever else to be in that thing. It wouldn't make it better or worse. It would just be help them go up a rank, right? You know what I'm saying?
Resources in that combined arms battlefield style gameplay, those are going to play a big role in the game. It's even a focus of the end game.
Like, you wouldn't have an advantage. You wouldn't have an advantage if you didn't be a part of the PvP. It would just be the people that play PvP. They would have some sort of stuff that would make that class go up that rank that they want to go up more.
But in addition to that, or in exclusion of doing those things, you could choose to be a master crafter. You can specialize in making certain types of armor or weapons or tools and then sell the things you make on the game's exchange.
Right.
You can also focus on being an architect, constructing these cool looking.
I'm going to back up a second because he's starting to talk about the other.
Or in exclusion of doing those things, you could choose to be a master crafter. You can specialize in making certain types of armor or weapons or tools and then sell the things you make on the game's exchange. You can also focus on being an architect, constructing these cool looking buildings of all sorts of different varieties and styles and selling those blueprints to other players. So instead of spending the several hours or days.
Right, so like blueprints for buildings. You can buy the regular standard blueprint for your house, right? And you could put your stuff in that house, but if you buy your blueprints from an architect, again, I'm just spitballing here, they can add different things based because they're going up the architect route. They can add more stuff, more benefits, more passives. So like if you buy a house standard, you don't get like rest bonus or anything like that because you built a bed. But if you buy an architect's plans of a building, it has different bonuses and stuff on it because based on the architect that's building that building. The more they level up their architect level, the more benefits you get, right? You see what I'm saying? This is how that type of stuff needs to be, because if I can just buy a house from anybody and everyone can buy the same house, then why do I need to buy a blueprint from somebody that makes houses? What's the benefits?
Of making this really cool looking structure, they can just buy the blueprints, place the blueprints down, and then fill them up with the resources. But you can spend your playtime being the architect who builds those buildings and sells those blueprints. You could also focus on something like being a scout. They're going to have this system where you go out and explore the environment. And
I might be this. I might be a scout.
And you can actually map out the world, placing the key.
I got so many questions, though, about it.
Location indicators for valuable resources and points of interest, and then you can craft maps that you sell to other players. I did not realize that this was a thing. I wonder if this is going to largely pertain to those areas where the shifting sands come in weekly and change the landscape. Maybe it's the case. It seems like it might be.
Well, I want to say so much. I'm gonna save it for tonight. I'm gonna save it for tonight.
The case that those areas will not be mapped out in game by default for the players, but you will have players who go out and adventure every week and map them out and craft these maps that you can then buy from them. That sounds pretty cool. And then I would be hesitant to neglect mentioning one final thing that I thought was really cool that he mentioned towards the end of the video, where he said that if the game director were here, he would be saying, if the game feels really good to play moment to moment, the way you move in the world, the way you shoot in the world, driving, if those things feel great, and then you have this amazing universe around it, it's gonna be fine. And I will say absolutely for sure, we don't know if they're gonna deliver, but I think it's so important that they are at least acknowledging and considering this, because those things, if done well, can absolutely make for a good base game. And then all of these supporting systems and features, if your world is interesting to explore and navigate, if you've got satisfying progression systems and engaging content that can keep people coming back, those things combined with the great feeling gameplay, the great movement, the great moment to moment, the great action, the great traversal, those things all coming together can then turn a good game into a great game. We don't know how Dune Awakening is going to turn out. If they nail the moment to moment, the action, the gameplay, the feel, the traversal, the immersive world, we don't know how it's going to go, but I am so happy to hear that they are at least acknowledging that those things are important, because yes, that is the key baseline to making a good game. And then if the rest comes into play, maybe you end up with a great game. So when are we going to get to play Dune Awakening? Well, as I mentioned, it is slated for release this year. They have said that closed beta tests have...
Do we think it's coming out this year? I mean, obviously the beta test is going on. Do we think it releases full release this year?
Been running for several months now, and that they are going well, according to the developer. Their plan is to slowly but surely invite more players over time, and they will be working with the community and taking feedback to help improve the game, yada yada, all the stuff you hear from any game that's in beta testing. If you are interested, there is registration available over on the official website. It is still open, and they did mention that we should expect to start seeing a lot more about the game as we progress throughout the year. They also mentioned that this event here, which was called Dune Awakening Direct, this was episode 1. There will be plenty more of these in the future as well, so I'll keep an eye out and I will keep you guys up to date with any major and interesting new information that comes from them. I gotta say, yeah,
Skillup's brother. He doesn't look anything like Skillup's brother.
Really looking forward to this one. I do like what we've seen of the game thus far, and I'm hoping it turns out well. Also hope that we see some sort of large-scale open testing prior to the game's release so we can get our hands on it and see if it plays well, if it runs well, and if all of these systems and features they've talked about end up resulting in an engaging gameplay loop. They certainly have some big shoes to fill, following on the back of Pal World and Shrouded and Sons of the Forest, if they want to be considered 2024's best new survival game. And, well, we'll find out sometime later this year.
Yeah, but it's not a survival game. It's a survival MMO. There's a difference. There's a difference. There's a lot I want to talk about, but I think I'm going to hold most of my stuff tonight, so it's not a repeat for those of you who are watching now. You can watch it tonight when me and Sarge talk about Dune Awakening, because he likes Dune, and we both love Star Wars Galaxies, and we both know a lot about MMOs and how economies and stuff should work in the game, so we're going to talk about that later this evening. Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff, man. This game can be fantastic, but at the same time, it's going to take a long time to get to that point. Okay, it's going to take a long time to get to that point, and there's a lot of stuff that, yeah, they mentioned, and it sounds great on paper, but it doesn't logistically sound like it could work out. Because even if you implement the stuff and it's perfect about the cartographer and about the blueprint maker and stuff like that, you're going to have people that are okay with what the stuff is, but then you're going to have the gamers. They're like, I don't feel like going up that route, right? Like, if everyone can make a map early on in the game, then there's no reason for the cartographer to sell you a map. And if I can go up that tree to make a map in the early stages of that tree, then there's no reason for, you know what I'm saying? Like, you would put like 3 points into your skill tree to get the map maker ability. And then you would never need something else because you don't need to buy a map. You would just go up that skill tree to make a map type of stuff. And that's what I hope doesn't happen. Yeah, you have to have, if you want an economy in the game, you have to have people making shoes. So certain people, right? A lot of people don't want to be a plumber in real life. Okay, but you have to have plumbers. You have to have certain people. So in this factions, people will be warriors, people will be merchants, people will be tradesmen, and you have to kind of push people into those positions to give everyone the entire spectrum of what the game could be. The difference is, if you don't have water, you're fucked, right? Now, if Dune Awakening was a PC only, then it could release in 2025 because GTA 6 won't be on PC then. It's supposed to be on all platforms, right? You know, it's been so many years since I played Conan. I don't know what the changes they've made to the game, Salty. I liked what they were doing, but I don't remember. They've added a lot more stuff to that game after I stopped playing. Again, it sounds good on paper. I like the fact that you can be a architect and be a cartographer or be a warrior. It took 1 year. It was 1 year after. I believe it came out 1 year later. Yeah. September 17th, 2023 is when the game came out. Nope. Oh, 18 months later. 14th of April, 2015 is when it came to PC. They have a blueprint from Conan system, so I doubt they'll change much in that regard. Just expand it. How does it work? How does it work in Conan for the blueprint system?
And a few of you have been asking for more, so for a change of scenery, I thought I'd go back to the Exiled Lands. For something also completely different, I have made a treehouse, but I've done it with normal foundations instead of the treehouse foundation, which you can't even make until you're level 30. Seems a bit ridiculous to me, as nobody approaching later tier stuff is going to want to build a treehouse, but hey ho. For the location, I've done it at the location I did a best base location video on between Sepamaru and the Arena Dungeon. If you want to see why this location is so great, please go and check that video out. As there's a giant bushy tree above it, it's a little hard to do a floor plan, but here is the ground floor area.
So what he said just earlier, he said level 30 to even get this. And he says, I don't know why people in late game would even want a treehouse.
And here's the plan for the actual treehouse itself. I've used insulated wood and flotsam pieces for the treehouse structure and thatch for the roof, as you'll see in a moment. As the base of the treehouse is quite wide, I was also sure to use diagonal support beams which increase stability as well as make it look a bit more detailed.
I'm just trying to figure out what is the reason, you know what I mean? Like, he's saying it's for stability, so if you're an architect, you can make certain things that other people can't. Oh, I know what you mean, Salty, that they have it and they can just expand on it. I'm trying to figure out logistically, what does it mean to be a blueprint maker? And this is weird. Is this just a creative mode that he's in? Or is this how you build in Conan now?
Using the door frames and walls. I would have thought you'd be able to fill in the pieces with ceiling tiles without these, but whether the tree itself blocked this or what, I don't know. Sometimes you just have to work around Conan's jank.
This is Conan. The reason we're looking at this, Altern, is he's talking about the blueprint thing, and I just wanted to know what was the benefits of having a blueprint. And since Conan did it, because it's the same guys that are doing Dune, I wanted to see, because I don't know.
Stone brick is easily made as a newbie and fits really well with the treehouse structure finished. I now build up the ground floor area. I wanted this to be like a mini compound with some crafting stations in and minor fortifications. Stone brick is easily made as a newbie and fits really well with the desert biome too.
Yeah, see, the brick is easy to make as a newbie. So now, if I can buy a high-end blueprint, can I use the materials in that blueprint if I don't go up that level type of stuff? Is that the benefits of having to pay for a blueprint? Or if I buy someone's blueprint but I can't use the materials, then what's the point of buying the blueprint? Yeah, but you would still need the materials, though, Altern. You would still need the materials to buy. If I buy a blueprint, I still have to have the materials to build that thing. Because you can't just sell the blueprint and the materials with it. Like, if I buy the blueprint, all of a sudden I pop it down and boom, it's there. Because then what people would do is they would break the game by smashing, like... So let's say I'm a blueprint maker. And in your world, if someone's lazy, they don't want to build, and it's a prefabbed house, but it's using materials that you can't get. Well, all of a sudden, I pop the building down, and then all of a sudden, you would just break it down and get the resources. Do you know what I mean? I don't think this is going to answer my question. I'm going to have to do research on the side, and maybe I'll watch it this afternoon, and then I'll bring it up tonight on the stream. This is just him showing you how he's building. Maybe making a super high on the skill tree, but then that you have to put it in some sort of reachable area and then make it better as you go up the skill tree. If you make it impossible, then no one will go. You know what I mean? I know I'm going like super geek here and like thinking of the possibilities and stuff, but it's the way that my brain works. Because it's easy to say a thing, but implement that thing is super hard, and then people are going to find ways around it. If you don't make it proper, then there's no economy. If there's no economy, then the game fucking crumbles. You saw what happened in New World. Right? And anytime any game tries to have an economy, okay, and it does it wrong, it fails. And then they have to fix it. But MMOs live or die based on the economies they are in the game. Whatever that economy is. Wood, stone, metal, whatever jewels, weapon parts, clothing, parts, plants. Right. Because if I could make a blueprint and then use the materials in my blueprints, and that someone has to buy that blueprint and they can't just build the house, they also have to go up a skill to build it. So is there a person that's a builder that you have to like contract to build your house? You know what I mean? I don't know. I doubt it. That'd be kind of stupid. I would hope. I would hope. Destiny is the best MMO, has the best economy, new pointless resources. It's not an MMO though. It's an MMO light, and it doesn't have a fucking economy. You can't trade or anything with other people in the game, right? You can't sell it on an auction house or anything like that. There's no economy. New World could have been so good. I don't know why it's not on console yet. It's because single platform games it's so good. That's why. The best experience is only when it's exclusively on one platform. Right. So it's like you buy the blueprint. Someone charges like, I don't know, 1,000 whatever gold right? And then they get the gold, and all of a sudden now you get the blueprint, but you can't do anything with that blueprint until you're like 20 levels higher. And you have to go up a skill tree to hit that point. At the start of the game, that's not a big deal because everyone's starting off with nobody experience, and then someone that's going up the blueprint route sells blueprints. They have like small little teeny homes or whatnot, but what's the benefits of buying a blueprint of a house from somebody? They blew it. Dune is filling out the void of the large-scale MMO on console. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it launches at the same time when it does come out. They're adding controller support, PC, so it's probably going to be soon on console. Maybe next year, maybe. I don't know, 30. I ran into a few people who trade their accounts into the people in trials. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we don't know. Like I said, it sounds fantastic on paper. We'll bounce back and forth ideas with Sarge tonight on GXG. On that note, that'll do it for me this morning or this afternoon. I appreciate you guys coming out and hanging out with us and having this conversation. We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, for Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories in the past week, and we rant along the way. If you like what I do here, please make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and if you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. I appreciate it very much, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.